Released in 2008, Grid was Codemasters' critically acclaimed multi-discipline racing title. After a 5-year hiatus, Codemasters has literally gone back on track with a sequel that maintains a focus on mastering several racing disciplines with a variety of cars across tracks that span the globe. It's highly unusual for a game of this type to go so long without a follow-up. With 5 years to contribute to the auto racing game landscape, competitors have offered up some seriously good racing experiences and have set the bar rather high. And the question is, should Codemasters have returned to the tarmac at all? Grid 2 is about the role of your driver in the formation and proliferation of World Series racing, an international racing series that encompasses several racing disciplines across a wide variety of car types. It's your job to hit the streets around the world and generate interest in the WSR by thrashing local racing cliques at their own discipline. This setup really isn't a major distraction and merely provides context for the events that make up the career. Some cutscenes introduce new race types, and clips from SportsCenter that document your successes between seasons to mark milestones in your ascent from a racing scrub to WSR superstar.
On an agreement for the network to air every race this season live and exclusively on ESPN HD. It marks yet another major step in the development of WSR as the organization moves its races to prime time to be broadcast on the network.
Early seasons confine you to a region as you spread the gospel of the WSR and cut your teeth on each race type before giving way to globe-trotting seasons that feature faster machines. While this structure makes sense in the context of the narrative, it has the unfortunate side effect of wearing out each location's welcome. Each region has 3 or 4 primary race locations, with varying routes through each. While the tracks themselves are technically different, they share sections and landmarks from tracks you previously raced in. Spreading a dozen races across 3 locations where you encounter some of the same sections of track across various routes does not leave the impression that variety is the game's strong suit, despite a track list that would indicate otherwise. Grid 2's greatest innovation is its live route system. Basically, track designs are modular, and with live routes, these sections of track are loaded on the fly, completely randomizing the track and forcing the player to react to each change, since the minimap is unavailable. Each section of track comes together seamlessly without creating any awkward or impossible turns, though some sections of track can be repeated several times throughout an event, which really detracts from the novelty of the feature. Live routes are available in many of the game's tracks. Traditional real-world tracks such as the Red Bull Ring, Yas Marina, Indianapolis, and Brands Hatch are also on offer, though compared to Codemasters' own tracks, these can be rather bland to anyone but racing fans. Time of day also varies across these tracks to change the mood of each race. Driving in Grid 2 straddles a line between simulation and arcade racing similar to Forza Horizon. Vehicles embody the characteristics of their real-world counterparts, but sliding and drifting are much easier and emphasized. But Grid 2 is devoid of turbo boosts and jumps that characterize pure arcade racers. Ultimately, it's a system that's extremely enjoyable. Muscle cars roar and corner like hippos sprinting around a KY jelly-covered skating rink. Tuners slide around like asthmatic mosquitoes as their turbos hiss and wheeze, while track cars warp across the asphalt and slice through corners like razors through the wrists of a My Chemical Romance fan. Unfortunately, the car count is on the small side, encompassing less than 50 of the most elite performance vehicles from the past and present. Well, I should say the most elite race cars not to wear Porsche, Ferrari, or Lamborghini badges. Customization is also limited to changing wheels and adding garish liveries to your machines. Copious sponsor stickers will also spoil your vehicle's aesthetics while offering an opportunity to complete objectives that earn WSR more fans. Offering a wide variety of race types may be one of Grid 2's greatest attributes. In addition to conventional point-to-point and circuit races, Toge events pit you head-to-head with another driver and task you with gaining a 5-second lead or finishing the race ahead of your opponent without making contact. Checkpoint races are a contest centered around driving cleanly, allowing you to earn more time by passing through checkpoints. The driver who covers the longest distance wins. Overtake events have you passing slow-moving trucks while building a multiplier, which is maintained by staying on track and not colliding with anything. Endurance races are a test of who can cover the most distance in the allotted time. Drift events, elimination races, and head-to-head races round out the event types. These events do an admirable job of keeping the main campaign from becoming stale. Likewise, strong AI ensures you have to work a bit for victories. Your opponents can be really aggressive, and full damage means that trying to play bumper cars in the corners can end your race or severely hamper your car's performance. Ricocheting off your opponents in the first turn and holding the lead isn't as viable a strategy in Grid as it is in other racing games. The online offerings in Grid 2 may be one of the strongest on the market. All race types are available, and a Rivals mode is on offer that allows you to compete against your friends in weekly events similar to other racing titles. Online connectivity is smooth, and races with 11 other competitors work well, though the first few turns are usually chaotic. As with any racing game, drivers can be rather aggressive, but more often than not, aggressive contact with your vehicle is not rewarded, though it can be an irritation. You can use flashbacks to set yourself back a few seconds in the center of the track, however, to ensure that you don't lose too much time untangling yourself from a mess. Color-coded symbols next to each driver's gamer tag can warn you of contact-inclined drivers. The best aspect of Grid 2's multiplayer suite is the fact that it offers a completely separate progression system. None of your cars carry over from single player, so you'll have to race and level up to unlock cars, upgrades, and livery options for your stable of machines. This really incentivizes long-term participation and can foster an addiction since the next reward is only a race or two away. Multiplayer adds performance upgrades which allow your vehicles to move between classes. Unfortunately, it's rather ridiculous you have to level up to unlock paint colors and wheel options since they are purely aesthetic. On the PC, Grid 2 is a real visual treat. Car models are appropriate detailed, though they lack cockpit views. Matte, gloss, metallic, and pearlescent paint are convincingly rendered, and the damage models are unrivaled. Hoods, bumpers, fenders, spoilers, and trunk lids can be smashed off, and tires can even rupture. Geometry wrinkles and deforms after impacts in a rather convincing manner. As great as all of this is, what really stands out are the tracks. Sparks from overhead subway rails shower the streets of Chicago, and paper blows over the roadway. Mists hover over the pavement of California as leaves blow around. Dubai's glorious skyscrapers and yachts dot the landscape. In short, the tracks seem to be alive. It's a nice departure from the drab and dead cityscapes that many games have you race through. The sound is also solid. Races are mostly scored with a symphony of pistons pumping like drums, turbos whistling like windwoods, and tires squealing like the string section. Exhaust howl echoing off of mountainsides and tunnels, and the echoing of your opponent's vehicle seconds off your lead can be intense. Music does occasionally fade in, intensifying the conclusion of some races. On the whole, Grid 2 is a rather compelling package, offering great race type variety and accessible but rewarding driving mechanics. The AI is strong, constantly nipping at your tailpipe and behaving more aggressively than in other racing games. Online is strong, and a separate progression system ensures that you have a reason to participate long term. Options for participation should cater to all tastes with direct competition and rival events that have you competing with friends' times. The experience is only hampered by a limited stable of cars, minimal customization options, and a main campaign structure that ensures track settings overstay their welcome. Let's hope Codemasters gives us another excellent grid experience within the next 5 years.